On a fine winter day in paradise, three young lads were sitting around the kitchen table wondering what they were going to do for the day. Stuck inside all day, they began to think, what would winter outdoor explorer extraordinaire T.A. Lawfer do in this situation?
Geez, guys, seems like a great day to do some ice fishing. I wonder what the weather's looking like. Ben, can you check that out for me? Yeah.
So right now we're looking at it's sunny with -2, but we got a wind chill of -11 with some winds gusting up to 64 kilometers an hour.
No snow though.
No snow in forecast.
Perfect. All right, and with the high winds in mind and the sun, what kind of gear should we be looking at bringing today?
Keeping in mind the wind chill and the low temperatures, definitely need to layer up.
For sure.
So we're looking at taking at least, you're going to need 3 base layers on your top and your bottom. So you're going to need a base layer, a shell layer, an insulation layer. And with the sun, there's always a danger of your eyes getting injured. So you're going to have to wear sunglasses while you're out there on the pond.
Perfect. All right, well, with that said, let's get into more detail about the gear. Gee, Dan, this is a ton of gear here. Can you help explain for some of us watching at home what we're working with?
For sure. So we're going to start from bottom up. So you always want a base layer that's nice and tight, preferably not cotton. Actually, definitely not cotton, as cotton kills. So base layer that's nice and tight, something like this will work. And then you're going to wear a pair of pants, not something like these though, because these are cotton, so something without cotton. And then we're going to have our windbreaker layer. So nice and warm, prevents the wind from getting in at you. And then we'll get to the top. So once again, a base layer, nice and tight. This is actually made out of merino wool, so it's nice, classy, cold. Yeah, very classy. Get it at Costco, good deal. And then a nice polyester warm layer, nice and warm. And then once again, like with the legs, we want something to protect us from the wind. So a nice windbreaker here. Also, we need to protect our extremities. So we're looking at a pair of socks or maybe 2 pairs, so like I said earlier, no cotton. These are actually merino wool, and these are just your basic ordinary sheep wool. And then to top it all off with the feet, you want a good pair of boots because we're going out on the ice. These are waterproof and they're nice and insulated for up to -20, and I think that's good for what we're doing today. And then with your hands, same kind of deal. Pair of gloves on the inside, pair of gloves on the outside, and then a hat to protect your head. And then you can use something like a buff to protect your neck and your face.
Perfect.
With the sun too today, never hurts to have a nice pair of shades.
Awesome. All right, sounds like we're dressed for success, so let's start packing the rest of our gear.
Great things to keep in mind when you're going on an outdoor adventure is always have a base layer, an insulation layer, your windbreaker, some insulated boots, studs or snowshoes for easier traveling, a buff, some socks and mitts, and even some sunglasses or a pair of goggles to protect from the sun.
Alright guys, now that we've got our clothes all sorted out, we figure out what other kind of equipment that we're going to need to go ice fishing. So, do we have the auger?
Check.
Excellent, Ben. Do we have the fishing pole?
Check.
Well done, Brady. Do we have the cooler for the fish?
Check.
Excellent. And do we have bait, hooks, and extra line all in the tackle box?
Check, check, and check.
Triple check. We got it all, so we should be ready to go for a nice day on the pond.
When assembling a gear list for heading out on the ice for the day, let's remember to bring the essentials, which include an auger, an ice fishing pole, a tackle box, a chair or a stool, a tent if you plan on staying overnight, and a cooler to store any potential catches or snacks for the day. Some further safety gear you might consider bringing along would be some ice picks, a rope, a cell phone in case of emergency, a whistle, a knife, a flashlight, and many others. And of course, in ideal situations, you don't want to go alone. It's always more fun when you've got a buddy. Stop or pause, Daniel.
All right, so we are out on the ice here now.
frozen over. Well, we've been informed by a few locals in the area that it's been frozen over for about a month. Had a bit of rain there the other night, but no real damage has occurred, which is always good. We were also told there's a few areas on the pond we want to try to avoid if at all possible. So area number one, a bit of water flowing into the pond over there in the cove, in this little spot as well. So we were told to avoid that because the ice is a little thinner there where there's running water. Also told, well, also informed that you should always avoid stuff that is poking out of the ice. So like this little tree box pole that's there in the summertime. Also in the opposite corner, down by Latins there, also avoid that over there as there is just open water over there. The pond didn't freeze over well over there, I guess because of running water also. And then also told to avoid this little shoreline here. It's a great spot to go fishing in the summertime. However, there are a lot of kids who like to skate in that area, so we won't want to be poking any holes where we don't have to be, and it might cause a danger for the kids skating on the pond. So we're probably going to wind up fishing in the middle of the pond here where there's not a whole lot of traffic, but there's still a good chance of us catching a fish or two. So yeah, that's that.
Walking on ice, it is important to know our conditions. When walking on ice, it should be at least 2 inches thick, and before going ice fishing, it should be 4 inches thick. Before we put a hole in the ice, we should avoid areas that have submerged objects in the ice. We should also avoid streams or rivers or anything with near running water. It is also important that we ask a local in the area, as there may be certain areas on the pond that might be utilized more or for different things other than ice fishing.
Cause we're bound across the water, heave away, me jollies, heave away. Come get your duds in order, cause we're bound to leave tomorrow, heave away. Me jolly boys, we're all bound away. Sometimes we're bound for Liverpool, sometimes we're bound for Spain, heave away, me jollies, heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's, where all the girls are dancing, heave away.
Perfect.
After picking our spot and shoveling off all the snow, it's time to start drilling our hole. Using an auger is all about form. It's important to make sure you keep your feet shoulder width apart and make sure that you have the proper footing. The handle should be at chest height and the top hand should never move side to side. Your bottom hand should control all the drilling. It's important that we dress warm, as drilling the hole could take a long period of time and you don't want to be standing out in the cold. And whenever you're going anywhere with an auger, you should bring extra blades because you never know if one are going to break. And another thing that's important to keep in mind is that there's different size augers that you can use. If you're not fishing for bigger fish, then you can use a 6-inch auger. If you're fishing for bigger fish such as pike or walleye eyes, you're going to need a wider hole, so you're going to want an 8-inch auger to drill your hole.
Alright, so now that we know it's safe to head out, before we get to the middle of the pond, we're going to fill this hole. Remember guys, when you're in the wilderness, it's important to leave no trace behind. Good job, man.
So as we can see, Daniel's pretty content in his environment. He's got all his layers on, he's got his gloves, his hat, he's got his balaclava, he's got his boots, and we also notice he has his cooler and his tackle box, as well as the auger ready in case he needs to leave to go elsewhere. But one more thing Daniel has a chair. The chair helps in preventing conductive heat loss, so Daniel stays warm.
Okay, now that we've covered everything above the water, it's time to check out what's on the menu today. As you can see, we're working with our hook and line. There's Dory from Finding Nemo. Oh, we might have a bite here, folks.
These boys have some fish. Now that we caught our prize fish, it's time that we fill up the hole and make sure that it's not dangerous for anyone else to fall in. Ben's going to fill in with some snow. And once he's patted it down, we're going to mark the area with some tree branches to ensure that people know not to come near the spot.
Geez, Evan, what seems to be the problem here?
Look, clearly I wasn't prepared for the kind of weather we're going to experience today. I'm only wearing a single layer on top and bottom. My shell layer is no good without my insulation or my base layers. My boots aren't insulated as well. The only thing saving me right now are these mittens that I have on. But other than that, I'm well on my way to frostbite. Okay, so let's go over some of the more important points about ice fishing. It's important before you head out that you have all the right clothing. This would include your jackets, your 3 different layers, your gloves, your mittens, your socks, and your hat.
Oh, and also, make sure we're informed about our environment, so that can include ice conditions, the weather forecast, and any other important info about the pond.
Oh, and I also always remember to bring the proper tools, so that includes your auger, your fishing rod, your line, and your hook.
And don't forget to always tell someone where you're going and when you expect to be back. And another good thing is to always take a cell phone with you, so in case you do get stuck, you can always give someone a ring.
And lastly, it's really important that when you're finished, you mark the area so that to let everyone know that there could potentially be a danger there and for them to avoid that area. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Have fun!
Cheers.